All right, what's going on, guys? I did it once again. I'm about 10, 15, or 30 seconds in and forgot to hit the live button again. Luckily, Amber caught me early this time. So hello, everyone. Again, I will say one more time, welcome, first of all, and thank you. We'll go through everybody here in just a second. But we still have not come up with a name for the show yet. So if you come up with a name, hey, let us know. Amber's even brought up the idea of calling it the show of whatever. You know, we'll talk about whatever. But I do try to have some kind of theme when we get started. And today I wanted to talk about, you know, the mindset of success. And that's kind of what we're going to start off with. And I just did a recent video on success. But before we get started, I want to say hello to my great friends, Amber and Kev. How are y'all doing today?
Good. How are you? It's been crazy already today, but got some stuff I think checked off my to-do list. So, you know, hey, we're getting somewhere.
That's good. Kev, looking sharp.
Hey, thanks. You know, I'm doing good too. I had to take a little mini nap earlier to, you know, get going.
Mini nap.
Well, I'm surprised you don't fall asleep as you're getting your beard did.
It does cross my mind. Usually it's just right after I woke up, so it's tough, but it's still relaxing.
It's pretty weird.
Well, you know, I guess we'll take a page out of Tara's book, if I may be so bold, and kind of congratulate the first one in here today, which is our good friend Jack Stud. Hey, appreciate you being here, brother. And there's Tara right there, almost first. Well, yeah. Hey, Tara. Hey, Baker. Just want to say hello to everybody real quick. And Jack Stud cheated. I'm gonna stay out of that one. All right. Let me see. Let me go ahead and go into the banter here. Tara, they're gonna be one. There you go. Well, you know, Tara, Jack's on Texas time, so.
I'm surprised Texas doesn't have its own time zone.
You're absolutely right. It should. Hey, Jacob, how you doing, bud? You know, it's so funny we're saying hello to everybody because it's like we interact with all these people throughout the day anyway. So, Frick and Frack, appreciate y'all posting about the show today. Thank you very much.
Yes,
Jim,
they reminded me.
How you doing, brother? Jim? You know, if it wasn't for Dino, Tactical Santa, I post one time on mine about the Thursday night show, and then he posted to everywhere. So I can't even. He posted on shows or channels I've never even heard of. What's going on, Alan's Lawn Care? How you doing, brother? It's good to see you, man. Y'all help me out who this is. I know who this is. Kim. Lee and Kim for EDC.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
I didn't know that.
I don't know if I was supposed to give the name away, but there you go.
You did. Uh-oh.
Hey, guys. All right. Again, hey, what's going on, brother? Hey, Jumpmaster, I'll be reaching out to you. You're one that we've been talking about. We wanted to try to get on the Thursday night show if we could to talk about your life. So I will be reaching out to you. Hey, Corey, how's it going? Love to have Corey on too. I just, you know, it's just, you start going through all the people you want to have on a show. It can be overwhelming. Well, there you go. Love the background. Yeah. Guys, we were just talking about my boring flat wall background there. So, all right, guys. Well, welcome. Again, I'm going to just start out by saying that one of the things of the video that I talked about or did this week was over, and we're always trying to stick to a positive theme. We may not always. We may jump in and talk about something else. But one of the things I was on my mind this week is waking up and the mindset that you wake up with, right? And the mindset that you wake up with will determine, I believe, how your day will go. You can wake up with a mindset, oh, it's Monday. Here we go again. I don't want to deal with this week. And guess how more than likely how your week's going to go, right? That's what I believe. But if you wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and make this decision right now. I'm going to make the best of it, even though I know it's going to be rough. Because, guys, I'm telling you what, when I go in on Mondays after the weekend, because we're 24-hour, 7-day operation where I work. And when I go in on Mondays, it's a hot mess. So the three things that I talked about was gratitude, waking up every morning, just kind of say, hey, it's just good to be here another day, right? It can be as simple as that. Purpose. For most of us in here with our age, if we haven't figured out our purpose in life, whether it's Amber being a nurse, Kev, a master worksman, myself, just, but if you haven't figured out your purpose in life yet, you're probably still a little younger, right? And then determination. And all that is the follow through and stick to itiveness that it takes to go out every day and handle your business, I like to say, right? Just keep it simple. That's right. Just handle your business. Whatever comes your way. A favorite saying that I used to have with my kids is, don't be afraid to make a decision. If it's the wrong one, learn from it. Just don't make that same decision next time. So with all that said, I want to talk to Amber and Kev and see what they think about that. And kind of, it's easy to say all this, right? Guys, it's easy to say, well, you should wake up with a positive mindset. But then when when me and Kev wake up in the morning, that back is just it's hurting. And then you think, well, I just don't want to do nothing today. But there's things to be done, right? And so you got to get up and do it. So you might as well do it with the best mindset that you can. What's y'all's thoughts on that?
Well, I'm going to go back to something that we had talked about another time, like kind of that faking it till you making it kind of thing. Attitudes, and this kind of falls into attitudes because, attitudes are contagious. How you feel is contagious, even to yourself. I mean, believe it or not, sometimes you can kind of trick yourself into a better mindset. And so sometimes it's like, if I wake up, I'm in a bad mood, I don't want to go to work. I mean, most of the time, who really wants to go to work? But I'm like, you know what? Just get up, let's do it. Let's put a smile on our face and go. And honestly, sometimes just simply smiling will change your attitude. It's just kind of like whenever years ago, it's like, when you answer the phone, smile when you answer the phone. I don't know if anyone's ever heard that old, especially when everyone had landlines, and like you have answering services and that sort of thing. If you answer the phone with a smile, that is actually portrayed through with your voice and so on and so forth. Most of the time, my family always makes fun of me because it's like, I can be sitting here yelling at them, cussing them up one side and down the other. Someone calls me on the phone, I can answer the phone and be like, hello. And it's like my phone voice, I mean, but it's kind of that same principle. It's like,
I know what happens when I call.
You never call me, so there's that.
We text.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just, you trick yourself into being in a good mood, into that motivation. How else do you talk yourself into doing things? You have to fake it till you make it, so to speak. You have to, and like I said, I don't always like that term, but sometimes it can really be beneficial. It can really help you. So,
well, I like what Jumpmaster just said. I don't know. Is this true? What do you think? Is this true? False motivation is still motivation. So I guess it's the same thing, kind of what you're saying, that even if you don't feel good, or even if you don't feel like smiling or answering the phone, if you answer the phone with a smile on your face, is it the same thing? I guess so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because sometimes that's all it takes. You have a good conversation with someone and, it can change your attitude for the rest of the day. You can have one good interaction with someone and then boom, it just changes your action, your whole attitude for the day. So, I mean, I don't think that is completely false, and the same goes negatively. It's like, negative attitudes are totally, contagious because, man, if someone in my group is, negative, in a bad mood, man, you feel it. I mean, you can feel the tension, and I'm really good at reading people anyway. And so, yeah, it's like if someone comes in the room and they're in a bad mood, I can tell almost instantly, and I can feel it. I can feel the tension in the air. And, then it's just like, okay, how am I going to approach this? So, and I'm guilty of it too. We all have bad days and we are allowed bad days, but, it's just try to always turn it around a little bit.
Okay. Good. Now here's my take on it.
No. Here we
It's
go.
totally different. I'm the guy that's the last mile in the marathon saying, do it, get up and do it.
Right.
Like we talked, with, just the sore back and stuff like that. And I've seen a reel, where somebody said, just make yourself, sometimes you have to make yourself. Mm-hmm. And I often do that. I'll wake up and I'll just lay there and I'm like, get up and do it. And I'm not being angry, or I'm not being angry at myself. It's just like, just get it done. But at the same time, I understand what Amber's saying too. It's whatever it takes you to get motivated, as long as it's positive, and you're not being hard on yourself or anybody else. But, mine is maybe it's just being a man. I don't know, but it's just like, get up and do it. If you're tired, do it tired. If you're hungry, do it hungry.
Mm-hmm.
But just as long as you get it done, just get it done. You know what you got to do.
I think you and I think a lot alike, right? So, it's easy to get on and make some motivational and positive, videos, because most of the time I'm talking to this person right here, right? More than I am anybody else. If it helps somebody else, fantastic. But I'm just a guy alone in my office / bedroom area, making a video about something I've gone through in a week and saying, man, you got to get better than this, right? So I draw motivation from everybody. We've talked about before, I'll jump on some of these lives that, with Corey or Chris and Tara, and draw motivation by listening, because as busy as they are, I was a father. I am a father, but I raised small kids, right? But that's been quite a few years ago. But seeing people do it now, then also running a business, if that doesn't motivate you to say, well, it's just me and my wife, and if I'm not getting up and feeling like doing something, there's always somebody going through a whole lot more, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But you and I, Kev, I think more alike, because I think our bodies are beat up about the same. So
yeah, well, it's just, I've worked jobs, physical jobs, and just hard. You don't just quit. You don't just be like, I'm done. You really have to talk yourself into doing it. And I probably had the wrong idea, because I said marathon. Of course, Tara jumped on it. I've never run a marathon, so I can't attest to that. But just just hard. Just for me, just physically hard jobs just help me get that mentality of you most of in life you just can't quit.
Right. Hey, before we go on any further, I don't know why this one just kind of hit me a little. Corey, making my last batch of Arctic Command beard oil right now and watching the live stream. Appreciate you being here, Corey. But man, I don't know. Corey strikes me as the kind of person that it just doesn't bother him just to move on, right? Like he just, yes, it's kind of the end of an era, but it's a starting of something new. And I think I'm kind of like that. I don't have an issue kind of cutting something and just moving on, right? But are you like that, Kev and Amber, or are you somebody that's got to, has a hard time letting stuff go?
Go ahead.
Well, I have a hard time letting things go. Just ask us about some ramen.
Okay.
New Year's Day, as a matter of fact. We decided that we was going to purge our cabinets and this, that, and the other. And so me being me, I'm not a pack rat. I am not a hoarder.
It's borderline.
No, I am not. No. He could get rid of everything. He doesn't care. Well, and I'm one of those that I will look at products and it's like, and look at the expiration date. And most of the time expiration dates are just, they don't mean that's when it expires.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Come on. It's to cover their own butts. Anyway, So we was cleaning, and I got a little overwhelmed because he's like, we need to get rid of this, we need to have this, we need to do this, we need to do this, and I honestly, I got overwhelmed. I'm like, nope, I'm not, no. And finally, I mean, we like stupidly got into an argument over ramen noodles, mind you. That's what started it, you know.
Yeah.
Obviously it ended up fine. And so I just had to come up with a plan. He was pushing me, and he like push. And I'm like, no, I've got to do this on my own. You can't tell me what to do. I have to do this on my own. And I've obviously we finally figured it out, and I cleaned out 2 whole like shelves, you know, because I decided, you know what, this is right. So anything that was expired, I threw away.
Mhm. Yeah, when we argue, it's almost
It's
always
dumb.
over dumb stuff.
Dumb. It's dumb stuff.
It
But I-
usually is. Right.
Yeah, but I'm the guy. I can drop it like a rock. You know,
Yeah,
I
you can,
I can get
100%.
rid of anything. And
I keep
like-
scraps of paper.
like you know, like that situation there. It's like, okay, we have this stuff. We've had it for a while. I'm very confident it's never going to get used, even though it's still technically good. I'm like, get rid of it. You know,
Yeah.
I
Mhm,
I always joke if I was single, I would have one fork and one plate and one chair
He
and
would.
just I'm not less is more. You know, I'm
It wasn't
definitely
moldy because it wasn't moldy. I promise it wasn't moldy. But
Does
yeah, no,
ramen- does ramen even go bad? I think that's
Oh.
one of them that could last the apocalypse. And
yes, it could have 100%. But you know, and I knew what he was saying, and he was right. But it was just like he was being too pushy. You can't push me, because then I shut down, and I'm like, I can't do it. You know,
yeah,
so
because we both have that personality. It pushes both ways, and
Yeah, it
and
does.
but you know, at the end of the day, though, we always get over it.
Yeah.
You know? And honestly, that wasn't even an argument.
No.
It was just nonsense. You know, it just maybe it's always you
Mhm.
got 2 people and they both want to be right. You
Mhm.
know,
Mhm.
who's the chief, and at
We
the
both
at
are.
the end of the day, both of you are.
this is such a Corey answer that I love. It's a New Year's Day every day. Take inventory of your life and evaluate.
Yeah.
I guess wiser words could never be. It could be put. Yeah, but Corey, I always look forward to these companies, whether it's Weatherbeard, whether it's True North, whether it's even with Lee and EDC. And I'm gonna tell you something. You talk about just everything we're touching on here about letting stuff go and all that. But before we got started, I asked Amber. I said, "Yeah." They were talking. I said, "Hang on a second." I had to jot a couple notes down. And you were talking about keeping things. I got notes on sticky notes, right? And this sticky note here, when Lee and Kim jumped on, this was EDC's Carrier Oral Blend and one of the scent profiles that I had, one of them sitting here by my computer. So
Mhm. Oh yeah,
it just
I have
needs
tons
to
of
be done.
notes.
Yeah.
Here's
So-
my notepad, and there's absolutely nothing on it because
He cleans
throw-
it every day.
I throw the paper away.
Throws it away every day.
And I'm not a pack rat kind of person. I don't have a problem letting stuff go and cleaning out the shed or closet. Now Candace, my wife, she'll get a receipt like you just held up. She'll get a receipt for everything. We'll be at the gas station and she's sitting there waiting. I'm thinking, who waits for a receipt at the gas pump? But my wife does. Yeah, she's gonna get that receipt, and it's gonna go with them 10,000 other receipts in her purse.
Yeah.
And it's comical watching her dig through her purse sometimes, looking for something and digging through all the receipts. I'm thinking, hey, them receipts come in handy yet?
Mhm.
So
Yeah, I always get when I pay at the pump, I always get the receipt, unless it says "see cashier." I'm like, nope, not going in.
So tell me then what because I don't honestly know what's your reasoning for getting the receipt at the pump.
Mine is just if I pay at the pump. Mine is if later on, the cops show up and they're like, "Hey, you didn't pay." I can be like, "Yes, I did," because that happens occasionally. Something doesn't register, and then they're like, "I don't think this person paid." I tell the kids that too. I'm like, if you pay at the pump, get the receipt. throw it in your glove box or whatever. And actually, after a couple weeks, I throw it away. But the initial.
I
But,
can't answer that because I haven't pumped my own gas in probably, I don't know.
It's been a long
It's
time.
been a long time.
Now, I used to be a professional gas pumper. I worked at a
Mhm.
full service gas station.
Mhm.
Washed
You know,
windows, pump gas,
It's
and
funny you
checked
said
oil.
that because I want to talk about that in a second. Guys, I told you we'll talk about anything. We'll talk about anything here. So, okay, so I want to give you my brother's take on this, getting the receipt at the pump. So he said, I watched 2 documentaries back to back. We're polar opposites. If I call buy now, the shop for spirit. Yeah, that's a good point.
Mhm.
My brother gets the receipt, and because I asked him the same thing. We're on our way to the Renaissance Festival this year. He gets out and pumps the gas and gets the receipt. And I asked him the same question. What's the purpose of getting a receipt? His answer was, well, if you buy gas and then it winds up being bad gas, you got proof that you bought it. I said, okay. So that was his idea. Full station gas. Boy, I just thought when y'all were talking about not pumping gas, Amber, I just thought about that. How I remember when I was younger, how cool that was. Kev, you got to tell us about this.
Oh, I don't know, I was a teenager. I was still in high school and I went looking, wanted to get a job. And somebody had told my teacher actually told me the gas station was hiring, and I went up, and he is an older man that ran it. And my interview took about 15 seconds. He said, cash registers didn't tell you change.
And this was an old cash.
This was an old cash register. And he said, if I buy, $17.50 worth of product and I give you 20, what's my change? And I told him, and he said, you're hired. That's all. I could do math, and I could do it in my head, and I could do it fast and correct. And that's all it took. He said, you're hired. And it was actually a full service plus a mechanic shop. So I would pump gas, check tires and oil and all that. And then,
drop trucks off the lift.
Dropped a truck off the lift one time. That was hairy, but we fixed tires. I fixed thousands and thousands of tires. But I was putting new tires on a guy's truck, and I put it up on the lift. It must've been balanced just right, because it sat on that lift forever until I pulled off one of the tires to change it, and that truck just went
into the tire machine.
Right into the tire machine. But the gentleman was standing behind me, and all I could think was, I'm going to get beat for this. But he just smiled and said, well, that's the way it goes. And then we fixed it and went on. But it was one of my, it was a fun job. It was, you met everybody and done everything, little old ladies to tell you to, clean the, bird stuff off their hood and all that stuff. And it was a good time. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's sad that it's sad for me that today's world we live in is just so fast paced that them days are gone, that people take the time to go in and pump your gas for you and then, check your oil and things like that. So, but, Brewer, how's it going over there in LaGrange, Texas? If you're still with us, how are you doing? Did you, I know today's the day. It started at 2:00. I did watch a little bit of video from a gentleman that was there doing a little tour, but we have been house sitting, and I think my son-in-law gets out of the hospital Monday, I think is what they were shooting for. So, yeah.
Wow. He must have been more banged up than what I thought then.
He had a fracture in his not I don't know, is that what you call it? Is it a fracture in his femur that was not it wasn't shattered, it was just like a crack?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, yeah, they're getting all that taken care of and making sure that so anyway, yeah. Hey, Teslas, who would have thought? Boy, that Tesla kind of helped them out there, so I'm assuming that you and Kev knew each other when he was working at this?
Oh yeah, we met when we started dating when I was 13 and he was 15.
Yep.
So, and he didn't start working there until I think right after he was 17.
16, 17,
Yeah, so
probably.
yeah.
You know, and when you say dating at 13 and 15, it was more,
Right. Holding
it
hands.
was,
and,
you know, it was just two kids that wanted
Yeah.
to run around and ride bicycles and rollerblade. We met through some friends. They were going TPing, you know, throwing toilet paper in the trees, and that's how we met. And you know, throwing TP.
We got
and,
shoved to the back seat of a car
Mhm.
together. There was 4 people shoved in the back seat of the car.
Yep.
No one, we didn't have to wear it. I mean, I think it was maybe a law then, but the back seat I don't think was. But I mean, we lived in a little town. I mean, it was 1,600 people, and everyone knew everyone. I wasn't supposed to car date or be in cars with
Right.
teenagers at the time. But I was also the oldest child of the 3. But yeah, I mean, so that's how we met. Yeah. And it's sad because now we drive through that town, which is just about 8 miles away, and it's no
Yeah.
longer there. So they've torn it down, and which is so sad because we spent many a day. I spent many an hour just sitting in there hanging out. And I mean, I hung out with all the old men in there, and that was the hangout place. In the wintertime, they would bring a big old bag of peanuts in, and they would break the peanuts and eat the peanuts and throw them on the floor. And
50-pound bag of peanuts. And
Mhm.
we always, called them loafers.
Mhm.
Everybody, the old men just came in and
Mhm.
sat and just gossiped. And Amber, would sit in there too and just, hang out with me. And,
Mhm. Just one of the
she,
guys.
of course, she got an education from
Sure did.
all them old farmers. And,
Mhm.
but
Sure did.
she was one of the guys. She's always been one of the guys, nobody, not treated any differently.
Right. I had an uncle that he owned a salvage yard, right? And about the same thing, as a teenager, 14 years old, our jobs are go out there when they haul these junk cars in and take off any parts like starters and things like that. So I kind of got to start getting an education in auto mechanics when I was young, as far as taking parts off and things like that. So they salvage stuff, but it was like that. There'd be 4 or 5 just guys from around, older guys just sitting there. And I mean, they'd sit there all day. And then, and then you get older, you think, did them guys work? Or what did they do? So, yeah.
That's the way this was, there'd be guys, a lot of them, especially like farmers in the off season and older, just retired, but they would sit there from open to close and drink 25-cent coffee and, a bottle of Coke pour the peanuts in it. It was just, that's where they hung out. Always
25-cent crackers, I mean, because you heard everything in there. They had the scanner because the owner and his son were on the volunteer fire department, which the fire station was right across the road from the gas station. So it was perfect for them to run back and forth if they needed to. And like I said, we're talking small town. I mean, this,
Right.
like I said, 1,600 people. There was no stoplight, four-way in the middle of town. And that's where we grew up. I mean, we grew up on opposite sides of the school district. I was 6 miles north of town, and he was about 9 miles south of town. But
yeah, and going back to riding bicycles, she would ride her bicycle 15 miles to my house, and it took most of the day. And before I had my license, I got $5 a week for lunch money. I would take that $5 and give it to my stepbrother to put in his gas tank to drive me to her house.
And I got $5 a week for my lunch because lunch was $1. So I would give it to him so that they could have the gas money it was crazy.
Yeah, I tell the kids, back then you worked for everything. One way or another, nothing was easy. There was give and take. You had to work for everything one way or another.
Yeah.
So what did y'all eat?
Usually we didn't eat lunch.
I mean, we would, which the thing is at the time, because my dad, we talked about, he was a corrections officer, and he worked second shift, and he would come in, because my brothers are 9 years younger than me. I have twin brothers that are 9 years younger than me. And at that time, whenever we would have lunch, we would walk uptown. And so usually dad was taking the boys to preschool. at that time. And so he was there. So he would then buy us lunch. I mean, it
Yeah.
worked out. Mom gave me $5 for lunch, but then dad gave me whatever. So
But at that time, you could take $1 and you could go to the gas station and get some potato wedges and some 25
Yeah.
cent crackers, and you could
Right.
make it work one way or
Mhm,
another.
this is my special. They're all special needs, but this is the really special needs cat. So he's weird.
Yeah, I think I said last week that that my lovely wife loves animals, right? So she feels like she got to rescue anything that needs to be rescued. It doesn't matter, cat, dog, squirrel, bird, whatever it is. And I love that about her. I'm not like that. I wasn't raised like that. Now, I love animals, and I think a person, you can tell a lot by a person how they treat an animal, right? And that's what I love about my wife. But we have a cat that I think they said they think it had a stroke. So we have a cat living in our house now that can't live outside or it won't make it, right? So, yeah, you talk about special needs cat. Yeah, I get that. All right. So what does Tara got to say? Yeah, Tara made a comment last night. That's why Amber won't get her ramen. So Tara says she has more fun in the chat. I can see, why she has so much fun. And Kev is the same way in chat. And sometimes I wish I was that quick-witted, because it's like after the show's over, I said, oh man, I should have put that in chat. That'd have been funny. I'm not.
No, I'm slow. I am the slow responder. I will be like an hour later in the shower, be like, dang it, I should have said that. That would have been funny.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not. Every once in a while, and I'll look at him like, did you see that? Did you see what I said? It's stupid, but it's fine.
And Steve like that. Bearded Chief's like that. He's the same way. He can come up with something that quick. So that's why you see me most of the time in the background, just clicking the button to show the chats. So, all right. So let's talk about that a little bit more. Okay. So I like where that was going. So you guys met at obviously a young age. Now, Amber sent me some pictures, because if you guys didn't know, Amber and Kev are going to be on the show Thursday night on the Tres Amigos. So Amber sent me a bunch of pictures to get together kind of and I wasn't laughing at you guys, but I was laughing at the pictures, because there's some old cute pictures of you guys when you guys were younger, right?
We're not shy. We've seen and done it all, it seems like.
Well, I was thinking to myself, are you sure you want to post these pictures?
There was one that I questioned sending. Tara, you will appreciate it because it has jean chaps, mind you.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I told him, and because at the time, I think we've kind of talked about it like in chat and this and that, we're former smokers. We've both quit smoking, and in this particular picture, we both have a cigarette hanging out in our hand. But to put that into I guess we were at a biker rally.
Right.
So that we were at a bike rally. So yeah,
everything.
I know
goes.
what picture you're talking about, and it looks like you were at a bike rally.
Yes, we were at a bike rally. Yes, and there are a whole lot of other pictures that are not rated for YouTube. That not of me, but that of just people. And I'm just like, holy cow! It was.
We wasn't there 10 minutes, and my eyes was about that big the first time we went to one, because it's a whole different world. It's fun, and the people are actually nice.
Oh yeah, I will say this. I'll save some for next week. But where we were at, the truck across the way pulled up with a trailer, with a flatbed trailer that had a pole on it and a hot tub. So yes, I did not partake, but there are people that were with us that did. So it's the one place I think where you could go and sit and not move and be entertained the entire time.
Yeah, for 2 days.
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Well, and and that brings up, my mind's always trying to go to the next thing, right? So that's, if you mentioned that, I could see. I've never been to a biker rally, but I can imagine, right? But I have been in participation in the Texas Renaissance Festival since 1977. My brother and I have went since
wow.
we were kids, right? I think I was 8 in 1970. So, right. So we've been going. Now, it's a lot tamer than it is now, but, or it's a lot tamer now than it was back then, but same way. Yeah. You could go there and be entertained just by sitting there.
Well, my aunt used to live in Houston years ago. Oh my gosh, I can't even remember how long that's been. But my aunt lived in Houston. She worked for Babcox and Wilcox, I believe was the company. She was a chemical engineer. And when she lived down there, me and my mom flew down there and we went to a Renaissance festival. I distinctly remember going to one. I would have only probably been 5 or 6.
It had to have been the Texas Renaissance Festival because that's right outside of Houston.
Okay, that's probably where we went then. Yeah, and so that would have probably been around like 85, 86, I'm guessing. So yeah.
It could have seen us out there, but I'm telling you, of course, I was a teenager then. But it opened up in 1971, and it is the world's largest Renaissance festival. It's huge. I mean, it's hard to go see stuff in one day, but the whole thing about it is just it's the entertainment aspect of it, right? Mm-hmm. So, it's just so much fun going and watching. Guys, how do we go from waking up with positivity to talk about biker rallies? See, that's what I'm talking about. It's the show about anything.
I told you.
Yeah.
So we talk about whatever.
Yeah. And like I said, too, a big misconception with a lot of these events, there's always, rough people everywhere, but you'd be surprised the vast majority of these guys, you see these big old bearded bikers and you think, well, that guy's scary. And those were some of the nicest people we ever met,
Well, you look at a lot of, I've got a lot of friends that I work with in the trucking industry that are 1%ers and bikers, and not even just 1%, but bikers. And they're some of the most giving people. They're always out doing charity events, doing stuff for, police events and firefighter events, just some of the most giving people that you ever met. Now I see Jacob said he went to a Renaissance festival and will never go again. Now, I love it out there. Of course, you'll see my, my Santa outfits that I wear out there. I love getting but that's just the entertainer side of it. I just love getting dressed. And I am going to try to go to work out there this next year.
Neat.
And kind of get to that side of it. Of course, it's just
there's one semi-close. I say semi-close. It's probably 3.5 hours down by Louisville, Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And so we've thought about maybe trying to hit that one up because that's stuff that's like right up our alley. I love that fantasy genre kind of stuff, always have, always will. And I know they have like different usually themed weekends and stuff like that. Cause I know there's they have a lot of Celtic weekends and stuff. So that would be another one that we would be very interested in. And then I think they have probably movie themed ones and character themed ones, that sort of thing. So, all of that stuff is like right up our alley just because, it's stuff that interests us. I have a big interest in, like fantasy, mythology, that sort of thing. So love that stuff.
Bobby says, come to the Carolina Renfest in Charlotte, North Carolina. Bobby, I actually watch a lot of YouTube videos of some of these people that travel and go to these Renaissance festivals. And that's one of them that I see that I'd love to go to one year because it is really not, it's a nice festival. I absolutely love it. I just like that kind of atmosphere, Amber. I think I'm like you in that area. Pennsylvania is another one, Baker. That's another one that I see a lot on. I'm such a nerd. I'm a beard nerd. I love watching YouTube videos on Renaissance stuff. Guys, I'm telling you, I'm a nerd. That's what my wife keeps telling me, right? But I think everybody in here is at some point. But I remember when my dad was in the Army and we lived over in Germany, and they would have what they called Volksfest and Volksmarches, which is like a folks march and just festivals like that. And they're big into that. And castles and things like that. And it was just like a community coming together and kind of reenacting. So cool. I love that kind of stuff and just love being involved in that kind of stuff. But Cuz says I have a lot in common with Mama T. Yeah, ask Dancy about the one up there or here. Hey, for some, you think Dancy goes to Renaissance festivals?
He did. He did, and I know that he did say. I think that it was a themed weekend, and so I think it was maybe a little bit more adult themed too. And with the kids and stuff, I don't think that it was, and I think because you have like all the people that have the booths and stuff like that. I like, are they called? I can't.
Yeah.
That anyway, and so he did. I know it just wasn't a very good time. He said for them. So.
Yeah, there's some cosplay that is kind of more adult themed.
Yeah.
And when you take your children, it's kind of rough. And then you get vendors that are just pushy. It's almost sometimes like a carnival where they're just getting up in there.
They're called like barkers or something like that. Isn't that what they're kind of called or something? Yeah. Yeah.
Well, the Texas Renaissance Festival here, and there's several here in the state of Texas, but the Texas Renaissance Festival is so big, it's become so commercialized now that it's almost like you go to a big outdoor shopping mall is the best way I can describe it, with entertainment, right? So it's a lot of fun. It's very expensive. Nothing is cheap there, right?
Yeah,
so, I mean, you buy some food, it's going to cost you $20-$30 for, so
one person, I'm assuming, probably.
Right. Which now now it's just my brother and I that go mainly, but we went and had a good time. Of course, they have the last event weekend is the Celtic Christmas. And of course, that's the one I just look forward to every year.
I would love that.
Just go have fun. And it's beautiful. People get dressed up.
Hey, Dan.
There's so many. Hey, we were just talking about you, Dan.
We were just talking about you.
Yep.
Talking about your Renaissance Festival days. We're talking about Renaissance Festival, and they said that you had went one time. So his ears must have been burning. Yeah. So, but I absolutely love it. Now, do you guys enjoy doing stuff like that together? Or?
We do. We just don't have a lot of opportunities, like I said, near where we live, because we do. We are an hour away from anything bigger than 16,000 people. Where we live our whole county is 19,000, and that's including the prison. So, because that's included in the census. So we don't have a whole lot, and there's a few because one of the towns that's about an hour away is one of the oldest towns in Indiana, if not the oldest town in Indiana. So they do have the George Rogers Clark memorial there, and so they will come in and they do like reenactments of that, and then one of the parks locally will do like a reenactment like Old Settler Days kind of a thing. So that's really about it. And then we have a small local airport that is rebuilding. It got demolished in the tornado that went through last year, completely flattened. But they do an air show every 2 years, which is really nice, and it's free. So there is some like local things that we do. We don't do a lot of traveling. We did when we were younger, but it was usually like with my family and that sort of thing. And we just never, we never have. He's not a huge
surprisingly, I'm not a vacationer. I'm fine just, sitting at home. Because if I drive 12, 16 hours to Florida, the whole time there, all I'm thinking about is the drive back.
So, it's part of his, I think his
I'm one of those.
I'm
one of those, I guess I'm impatient. I want to get there and do it and get back. And, like the beach thing, I can go sit on the beach for about 3 hours and I'm done. It's just,
yeah. But we do, I guess you can say that we do a little bit more. We do a little bit more online stuff. We've kind of gotten into that world, not just with this, but like, gaming. We're both artistic in that sense. Right. So we do those kinds of things. I traveled a lot when I was younger, but that's about it.
Yeah. We keep ourselves occupied.
Right. And I did too as well. And I think
Mhm.
that the mentality that you get as you get older is, and my poor wife, when I was younger, my dad was in the military. So we lived all over the world. We lived in Germany. I've been to Paris, Rome, France, everywhere overseas, seen castles, was at the Sistine Chapel, got to see Pope Francis, right? Got to
Wow.
do a lot of things or Pope John Paul, I'm sorry, at the time, but when I was a kid. But now that I'm older, I'm thinking, well, I've done been to so many places. I don't want to. My wife's still there. Well, I'd like to go to, but I try to get out. Now, unfortunately, she's not in the Renaissance festivals. So, so that's kind of a tough thing. So
My aunt took me a lot of places. Like I said, I have an aunt and uncle, and they never got married, never had children. And so I was the only grandchild, the only child in the family for 9 years. And so I got to experience a lot of things with her and with them. And they're actually moving back here. Hopefully next or actually this summer. Oh my gosh, this summer. Yeah, they bought a big house and moving my parents in, so it's going to be like a family compound thing. I don't know. I'm just glad everyone's going to be taken care of. But no, she kind of experienced a lot of things. She's been overseas. She's been to Switzerland. She took my mom to Scotland. Just things like that. So I mean, they go to Hawaii like twice a year or try to, and those sorts of things. So yeah.
Right. Marvin, no, I am not ready for the snow. And yes, it is supposed to snow here. And guys, when it snows, y'all up there in Michigan and Indiana and all, Illinois, is that what you call it? Is it Illinois or is it
No
Illinois?
S,
No S, no S.
no S.
You guys up there further north are used to this kind of stuff. When it snows here, an inch in the state of Texas, they shut the state down. Right. They're already talking about no work Monday, Tuesday, no school. And there's a possibility of snow on Monday. Hadn't even happened yet. And they're shutting the school down. They're not taking any chances. That's how we roll here in the state of Texas, because people here cannot drive in the ice and snow. So
they're getting more so about canceling. Albie, what are you doing, sir? My goodness. About canceling more than they used to. And I think a lot of it is just, liability and that sort of thing. And I understand that. And it's just lots of people on the road, young drivers on the road. Everything is rural here. So, most of the kids do have to drive on the rural roads. So
yeah, when I was in school, it was common they didn't cancel, and the bus would get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
They get on the CB and call for another bus, and you just switched buses and went on to school, and then they got a wrecker and pulled it out, and that happened all the time.
Yes. Not ready for snow. I thought, yes, I get where you're going with that. However, there's quite a few professional Santas in the world, and there's guys that brave that snow. But yeah, guys, I could do without it. And my whole thing is that, especially here in Texas, now it was probably in the 60s and 70s during December. Now all of a sudden it's getting close to midway through January. Now the cold weather wants to come, right? Where was all this at whenever we were? But anyway, guys, okay, so we've covered everything from positivity to motorcycle rallies to Renaissance festivals. And Marvin is supposed to get 5 to 8 inches. So they've been wrapping pipes. Yes. My idea. Hey, I want to ask you all's question on this here in just a minute. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what an expert I am about wrapping pipes, because we do it about once every 3 years, right? So my idea of wrapping pipes is going in there and finding some of my wife's older towels, maybe the ones that look like they may be older, and going out there and just wrap it around the spigots. We
don't wrap anything here.
No,
nothing.
No, we don't. It's usually if somebody's, pipes freeze, they'll open the crawl space and put a torpedo heater or a salamander heater and, blow under the house. You got to be careful. You don't, get too close to anything and catch fire.
But as long as you're insulated and whatnot, we don't, we don't keep the hoses obviously on the spigots. We take those off, and we don't wrap anything here. It's just
not very often.
I mean, I'm
You
sure
know-
there's some places that might, but I've never,
Yeah.
nowhere where I've ever lived in my 45 years that I can remember of us ever doing it. Now we had a house, an old house,
Mhm.
growing up that the pipes always froze in that house.
Mhm.
And so that was just a battle, but it was just because it was an old
Yeah,
house.
and of course the boyfriend crawled under the house
I did.
and thawed the pipes.
That's back when you had to prove something, right?
Yeah. Oh, me and her dad, we went fishing all the time. I helped him build a garage. We painted, barns, and
Yep.
I was probably more of at the time we were dating, I was the son-in-law from day one, pretty much. Me and her dad was always doing something.
So, I've seen everybody, mainly the people that live up north, you guys don't wrap your pipes. You don't worry about that. Now, I'm wondering, is it because the houses are built for that up there? Because down here, you always hear about these pipes busting and people's pipes busting all the time. I guess maybe because the houses just aren't built the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, they may be different. The insulation and the way they're
where they're routed. Yeah.
Where the water lines are ran also.
Right.
So my son lives up in, Idaho. Okay. He lives up in Boise, around Boise, Idaho. Right. So he just bought his first home. And the home was built I guess this is back when they used to build homes, but it built back in like World War II era, like around 1948. And it's a good looking house. It's nice. And it's got the old, it's a basement, but it was a bomb shelter at one time. Right. So he lives there, and it's just, he was kind of doing this virtual walkthrough with me. This thing is built. I mean, it is built for the weather, and it's just unbelievable. But I can't tell that the amount, the prices up there. Whew.
Everywhere.
I mean, if you want to try to help with freezing a little bit, open your cabinet doors to your sink and your bathroom sink, and let
open those cabinets.
Open the cabinet doors so they get some heat in there, and just let your faucet drip. A little bit overnight.
Keep a little, a little bit of a stream. Well, that's just like, up here. I went and seen my parents earlier this week. Like I said, they've moved, so their house is currently on the market. Well, they went to go check on it, and it's been super cold here, like down like in the teens, single digits, and the furnace had quit in the house. And so, dad was kind of like walking around, just waiting to find, and luckily nothing froze. And they was able to get a hold of the company to come fix it, so they're like, here's like $1,000 that we got to put into this, but they had to go buy basically, 5,
space heaters.
Thank you. Space heaters, until they could get it fixed, and it's just like, gosh, it's, I hate that, but at the same time, it's like, hopefully they can just get it sold. I think just if someone was in the house, it would be fine. But whenever no one's living in the house, how houses tend to go downhill when no one's in them. So,
and you turn the utilities down to the bare minimum too.
For sure.
Sometimes I don't, with all of you guys and everybody in the community, in the bearded community, I always think about you guys like everybody lives here in Texas, right? Because we're just always so involved and interact with each other. And I don't think about, Dan up in Michigan, you guys up there in Indiana, right? It's Indiana, right?
Illinois. I mean, we're 10 minutes from Indiana.
It's nearly Indiana.
Up there in Illinois. And
and
then Chris and Tara up in Maine, and well, even Corey up there in Tennessee. I know it gets cold up there in the mountains too, but so you don't think about a lot of this stuff, you just don't think about people that they live this kind of stuff. Maine, it's got to get cold up there because there ain't too much more north of the United States than Maine, I don't think. So, and then up in Michigan where all the lakes are, I can't. The coldest place I've ever been in, well, other than overseas in Europe, but the coldest place in the United States I've ever been is I was stuck when I was driving a truck over the road in South Dakota. it got 20 below zero. I've never been so cold in my life. And I had my truck heater running, the APU, the automatic power unit running. I mean, I had everything, and it was still freezing cold and about 10 blankets on. So I have much respect for you guys that can brave that cold up there. And guys, yes, I know I portray a Santa on TV, but in real life, I hate to break it to you guys. I like to live the lifestyle, but I really am not, you know. So, but
Tom's a tropical Santa.
I like that summertime Santa feel and that look. So,
like I said, the South is sounding better and better. I gave everyone in my family before we bought this house in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
I gave everyone the option. I said, "Here's our chance. If you guys want to move, we can move."
Yeah,
I lost.
Well,
and now
at the time I thought I didn't want to, but now it's like, maybe
it
should have.
You know, if you guys, if Chris and Tara and Dancy, all you guys that's listening here today, everybody here, Jack Stud, of course, he's in Texas. He's up there. Well, he's up north to me. He's about 3 hours north in DFW. But that's just it gets cold up there, and I mean just the climate changes in the different parts of the state. So I'm over here in East Texas, and the climate over here is a lot different than up there in Fort Worth, DFW area. And then let's say we're Pedro over there at Black Rebel over there in West Texas. It's a lot different. It's dry like the desert. The same farther down south. But so the temperature changes just even in the state. So you've got all your climates that you can live in, because in East Texas, it gets really humid and hot here in the summertime. Where over in West Texas is dry and hot, you know. So
yeah.
Even here in Illinois,
you know, relocate, you know, kind of like you know, Tesla and all them, they're all moving down here to Texas. So if you guys ever think about packing up and moving your businesses somewhere, come on down to Texas.
I mean, I'm sure there's nursing jobs down there.
Yeah. I mean, that's one thing with nursing. There's almost always a job.
They are hurting for nurses down here.
Everywhere is.
Yeah. But no, Illinois is kind of similar, because it's from probably the bottom to the top of Illinois is 7 to 8 hour drive. So, you know, of course,
we're 4 hours plus south of Chicago.
Yeah. My entire life, I've been to Chicago one time, and that was for a high school field trip. And of course, every time you tell somebody you're from Illinois, it's, "Oh, you're from Chicago." It's like, no, I'm, you know, you could almost cut the state in half in the middle, because it's two totally different states from north to south.
Right. And it's the same here, guys. I mean, Texas, it's such a big state, you know, and then from everywhere from like where I live in East Texas all the way over to like Georgia and even into Florida, the northern part of Florida, it's like all the same, right? It's just pine trees and humidity, you know, all along the Gulf Coast. So, you know, But
I mean, humidity doesn't bother me too much, you know, for the most part. It's like I whine about it, but at the same time, I'm used to it. So, you know, it's like I don't mind it.
No,
so
I would take 90 over 60 any day. I always worked outside. I'm used to the heat. I like the heat. I don't like cold. For me, you know, cold hurts for me, and I can definitely handle the heat. Now, if I get really hot, I get angry. Yeah, for whatever reason, when I'm hot, I can feel it just building up inside of me. I turn into an angry man. I'm just like,
I didn't used to, but now it's just like if I get hot, I get grumpy, and I'm just like, I don't know. I guess it's just getting old.
It gets warm down here, and it's the humidity that really hurts.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean we get 100% humidity here, so I mean we're used to the humid. You know, I know when my brother lived in Florida, when we went down to see him, he was in the Panhandle there around Destin, and it was same thing. So
yeah, we went to Phoenix one year, and we drove, and it was like one day it was like 105, no humidity, and I was like, well, 105, that's not 89 in Illinois. A lot of days is hotter than that. Feels hotter than that. It's definitely the humidity.
Right. Dan made a comment saying that Texas is a business-friendly state. It really is, and they encourage businesses to move down here. You know, with the unfortunate things going on in like California right now, around Los Angeles and all that, which is just absolutely horrible. They predict just in the county that I live in within the next year or two, an uptick of about 20,000 people moving to the area and a lot of people are moving just because of the job, and it's so expensive to live in places like that, you know, so, and just the job opportunities are there. But guys, we'll start wrapping things up. I know we've already been going an hour, but, you know, Amber, can you give us a sneak peek of maybe anything fun going on this week?
I got nothing. Nothing's going on this week.
Sometimes nothing is good.
I got nothing. I really don't. I mean, I'm working on my newsletter, obviously. So, you know, I kind of already have got to jump on that. So, you know, I think with, you know, Jay Cruz closing things up on his end, you know, so we've got, I think he said tabletop will be this weekend and then, or this week, I'm sorry. And then the next week will be his final show. So I've got that listed in there. I know, let's see, Dr. Nick's Amazing Man stuff will be on Dan C on Monday. And then let's see, what's Tuesday? Tuesday will be Jay Cruz, and then Tara's live on Tuesday. And then Dr. Nick's show on Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday is, and then Talking Beards is also on Tuesdays too. That's a new one that I've got listed in there. Wednesdays is Beard Advice Live. And then Thursdays is the Trace Amigos. And I don't know who's going to be on that. Not a clue. And
guys,
then
it's going to be Amber and Kev.
Right.
Yeah, you're going to get more of this.
More of this.
You know, be warned, I guess.
Yeah. And then let's see. I'm just kind of trying to go through what I know. And then you'll have Melissa's, and then the Bearded Respect. And who is on the Bearded Respect? Collie. Oh, I can't think of the whole name. Collie Candles, I believe, maybe. If I said it wrong, I'm sorry. I do have it on my newsletter correct. And then Friday will be Tara again, and then that's on Saturday. So I think that's it. I think that's all I got. Other than that, I have nothing exciting going on next week. I'll just be, you know, working away at this stuff, and then I've been working on a couple fun videos, I guess, and that's about it.
Well,
what do you got going on? Anything?
Well, you know, contrary to popular belief, I live a slow life, you know, and this is, you know, Saturdays, I look forward to this right here. Thursday nights, I really look forward to the Trace Amigos talk show. We're having a lot of fun. Look forward to having you guys on here. Amber, we appreciate, and I'm sure I speak for everybody in the community, we appreciate everything that you're doing, because that is I don't want to say it's a thankless job, because I know I see people thanking you a lot, but I know the amount of work that you put into it. You've discussed that, and we appreciate it, because, I mean, how groundbreaking is that? Because I don't think there's anybody else doing that or has ever done that. So,
right. And I keep making it bigger, you know, I mean, the thing is, I keep making it bigger. There's always so much that I can add to it. And so I try to, you know, keep it limited, because I don't, you know, no one wants to read a book necessarily, but, you know, I do want to make sure that I'm putting, you know, valuable information in there, you know, not just things about, you know, the company's, just general valuable information. And I want to keep it fun. I mean, I think the fun part is, you know, the key, because gosh, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it? So
and you got a good human being by your side that watches out for you and makes sure you're taken care of as well. So.
Yeah, he does.
You know, I'll tell you what, she is definitely the brains of the operation. I'm here for support, you know, and, you know, I might say something silly and hopefully make somebody laugh every once in a while. But guys, she 100% puts in the work. She puts a lot of time into this, and it's not a job for her. She really likes it. So when I say she puts in a ton of time, it's you know, it's a good thing, because she does like it.
I do. I love it. I just, and I have so many ideas, and I hope that I have the time and the opportunity to share those and that sort of thing. Cause I just have so much fun with it. So, and that's why I do it.
Well, Kev, I want to give you a little hint. Most wives are the smart ones in the bunch. So yeah.
I won't argue with it.
But Dan says it this: I love the originality, effort, passion, Amber, Kev, Spades. Love those two. We love you guys very much. I thank you for joining me every Saturday, taking time to join, this humble Santa and helping me out and just having fun and coming. I guess the name of the show, we're just going to talk about whatever. Right.
Whatever.
Amber brought that up. We just talked about whatever, because we just kind of get together and welcome everybody in. I want to thank everybody for being here. Thank you to all the business owners that stop in. Thank you, Dan C, for stopping in. Every one of you are just so important to me and our lives. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a great rest of your weekend. And guys, remember that this world could use a little kindness. So be kind to one another. And as always, keep Christmas in your heart.